You're pumped up to buy a mobile home park and you're wanting to get a deal done this year. The pressure's on and you're not seeing a lot of opportunities. In the back of your mind, you know that there's a lot of risk, but you have to buy one soon. Sellers can take advantage of desperate buyers like this and slip things past them. How do you make sure that you're not getting scammed by the seller and buying something that you're going to regret later? There's a couple of personality types that I commonly see buying property. On one hand, you have the overly aggressive, optimistic, undereducated buyer. On the other hand, you have the overly cautious, overly educated buyer, and both of these often get hurt. The overly cautious buyer has analysis paralysis, and they won't typically get screwed because they'll never buy anything. The aggressive, optimistic, and uneducated buyer thinks nothing will ever happen, so they buy anything they can without doing much research until that bad thing does happen. We all really want to trust sellers, especially when we want to buy their property. The problem is a lot of sellers will lie or hold back information because they think you won't buy or won't pay their price if you know about the problems. What they're hoping for is that you don't do your homework and you miss things. Pay attention, because if you don't, it's going to cost you big money and you could get taken out by some of these. I've killed more deals than I've bought, and often it comes down to sellers outright lying to me, and I found out about it in my due diligence process. Me telling you this should eliminate that it won't happen to me overconfidence. Let's talk about the most common ways that they will try and scam you. Lie about occupancy. Sellers tell you that all the homes in the park are occupied. How do you verify this? Well, there's a few things that you can do when you're visiting the property. Pay attention to whether there's trash cans at each home. Visually look in the windows from a distance, don't be a peeping Tom. Are there cars in front of the home, and are the mailboxes full? Pay attention to deferred maintenance that would probably need to get done in order for somebody to live inside the home. Here's another trick. Go look at the electric meter and see if it's turned on and moving. That's going to tell you if somebody is paying for the electricity in the home because they live there. Sellers lie about tenants owning the homes. Sellers tell you that tenants own all the homes, when in reality, the park has just done a rent-to-own program and still technically has title on all the homes. How can you catch this? Some counties make public who owns the mobile homes on county records. You can also take pictures of the VIN numbers when you're on site and do title searches. If several come back as being owned by the seller, you might have a problem. Lie about income. Sellers often tell you that tenants are paying more than they really are. It sounds a lot like this. I bring in $20,000 a month. When you do the calculation of, let's say, 50 tenants paying $400 a month, it comes out to exactly $20,000 a month. Everyone must be paying, right? Or they tell you they get $400 a month lot rent, when in reality, all the tenants for the most part pay $350 and maybe 2 of them really pay $400. How do you verify this? Well, in your due diligence, you're going to ask for multiple years of profit and loss statements. Additionally, you're going to ask for tax returns and bank statements. And if you feel like you need to, you can always do a tenant estoppel. Lie about deferred maintenance. You ask the seller what kind of work is needed, and they go about telling you how pristine the property is and exaggerate about how they take pride in fixing things before it even needs to be fixed. When really, the property hasn't been maintained in years, and often the seller hasn't even seen the property in that long to know what the condition really is. It usually looks something like the roads are shot, the plumbing is broken up and leaking, the trees are overgrown and they're rubbing on homes, and the office has leaks. And if you're extra unlucky, the pedestals are failing and the utility equipment all needs to be replaced. These are just a few things that I've seen. I recently had a seller seal coat over broken up roads and take a picture of them, and then send me that picture telling me that the property had recently been paved. The only way to catch all this is to get on site and utilize professionals to determine the status of everything. Some of the professionals that you're going to need are going to be electricians, plumbers, building inspectors, road contractors, and utility experts. Here's another tip. Don't rely on the seller's contractors. Get your own. Even if you have the opportunity to interview the people that they use, still go and get outside professionals that are looking out for you. What deferred maintenance have you found on a property that you weren't told about? Drop it in the comments below and let's see how many different things we come up with. Another thing sellers might not tell you is that an investor owns a bunch of homes in the park. This can be super problematic if the investor doesn't want to follow the rules or pay your increased lot rent. Lenders are also going to shy away from lending on the property when this situation exists for that same reason. You can often catch this by analyzing the rent roll for repetitive or common names. For example, if you see 10 Johnsons owning homes on the rent roll, you might want to look into that. Another way that you can catch it is by walking around and talking to residents and asking them if they own their home. If they say no, then ask them who does. You can also look at deposit transactions and note whether you see the same names paying rent for multiple lots, or if you see somebody paying a large amount of rent, which would equal multiple lots worth of rent in one transaction. These are all things that you need to pay attention for. There's one more big lie that sellers tell. But first, if you want to avoid making mistakes and buy great mobile home park deals, you need to be subscribed to this channel. It's free, and I'm giving you all the secrets to building your investment portfolio the right way. So hit that subscribe button now. All right, so here it is. They lie about the number of lots they have. Often sellers will say they have 100 lots, but in reality, their license or permit only allows them to have 60. Whether the lots are physically developed or not, you can only use what's legally allowed. This could completely kill you financially if you have 100 homes sitting on lots and the city comes and tells you you need to start removing them because you're over capacity. You can catch this by requesting all the licenses and permits directly from the government agencies and not taking the seller's word for it or taking copies from the seller. I also highly recommend that you get a zoning report and have an attorney review it to confirm the density you're allowed to have. Here's the deal. We've met some very honest and good sellers, but sometimes the most seemingly nice sellers are the ones that we've caught lying to us. So the old trust but verified is absolutely necessary here. These are some of the most common ways that you can get scammed by sellers, but there's a ton of different ways that you can get minorly hurt as well. It's absolutely crucial that you have a thorough due diligence process with a checklist to verify everything. Hey, do me a favor, if you hate scammers, please click the like button so I can go and educate others. And together we can all avoid the scammers. All of this said, don't let the potential of being taken advantage of scare you out of buying investment property. You just have to be thorough and do your homework. Fast and loose, no matter how much you want to buy that property, is going to make you take on a lot more risk than you should. If you're looking to buy mobile home parks, then you really need to watch the episode that I've got on the screen right now. I go over how to value mobile home parks properly and how to avoid a huge mistake.